His mother looked at my box braids, my brown skin, and decided I wasn't enough for her son. For 2 years I endured her insults in silence, until the day she humiliated me at a charity gala in front of hundreds. That's when she learned. I don't break. I fight back. If you've ever been underestimated because of who you are, this story is for you. Hit that subscribe button and stay until the end, because what happened next changed everything. Let's get into it. I need you to understand something right from the start. I'm not the kind of woman who goes looking for trouble. I'm an interior designer, and I built my career one project at a time, one satisfied client at a time. I didn't come from money. My parents were hardworking people who taught me that respect is earned and dignity is non-negotiable. So when I met Daniel at a community renovation project 3 years ago, I wasn't thinking about his bank account. I was thinking about how his laugh made me feel warm inside, how he actually listened when I talked, how he rolled up his sleeves and painted walls alongside volunteers without needing recognition. Daniel owned a real estate development company. I found that out later, on our third date, when he finally admitted why he was so interested in affordable housing projects. The man was a billionaire, but you wouldn't know it from how he acted. He drove a normal car to our dates. He took me to neighborhood restaurants. He asked about my dreams like they mattered just as much as his. We fell in love the old-fashioned way, and when he proposed to me 10 months later in my tiny apartment with takeout containers still on the coffee table, I said yes because I couldn't imagine my life without him. Then I met his mother. Catherine walked into that first dinner at Daniel's penthouse like she owned not just the room, but everyone in it. She was elegant in that old money way, where every piece of jewelry whispered wealth and every word was carefully chosen. She looked at me, and I watched her eyes travel from my braided hair down to my shoes and back up again. It took maybe 5 seconds. In those 5 seconds, she decided exactly who I was and what I was worth. The smile she gave me afterward didn't reach her eyes. "How lovely," she said, her voice like ice wrapped in silk. "Daniel didn't mention you were so striking." I knew what she meant. I'd heard that tone before, growing up in spaces where people didn't expect someone who looked like me to belong. But I smiled back, extended my hand, and introduced myself properly. I was determined to win her over. I thought maybe she was just protective of her son, that she'd warm up once she got to know me. I was so naive. The warning signs were everywhere, but I ignored them because I loved Daniel, and I wanted his family to love me too. Catherine would forget to invite me to family dinners, then act surprised when Daniel showed up alone asking where I was. She'd schedule important family events on days she knew I had work commitments, then sigh about how unfortunate it was that I couldn't make time for family. Every conversation we had felt like a test I was destined to fail. "Where did you say your people were from, dear?" she asked me once at a family brunch, loud enough for everyone to hear. Like my American family wasn't legitimate somehow, like there had to be some other explanation for my existence in her son's life. The comments about my hair started subtle. "Have you ever considered a different style? Something more classic?" Classic meant straight. Classic meant white. I kept my braids. Then came the suggestions about my career. "Interior design is a lovely hobby. Will you continue after the wedding or focus on supporting Daniel?" My business wasn't a hobby. I had clients, a growing reputation, a lease on office space. But in her eyes, nothing I accomplished could be real because I'd achieved it while black. The prenuptial agreement conversation was the worst. Catherine cornered me at a family dinner, her voice dripping with fake concern. "I just think it would protect you, dear. If things don't work out, you'll want something of your own." She made it sound like she was looking out for me, but her eyes told the truth. She thought I was after Daniel's money, that this whole relationship was a calculated scheme. I signed the prenup anyway, not because she wanted me to, but because I knew my worth had nothing to do with Daniel's bank account. I wanted her to know that too, though I'm not sure she ever believed it. Planning the wedding was a nightmare. Catherine tried to take over everything. She had opinions about my dress, my flowers, my choice of bridesmaids. She wanted to invite 300 of her closest friends and suggested my family sit in the back because there were so many of them, and she didn't want the photos to look crowded. I put my foot down on some things. My parents sat in the front row. My best friend gave a speech. I chose my own dress. But I compromised on so much else, trying to keep the peace, trying to prove I could be the bigger person. On my wedding day, I was beautiful. I knew it, Daniel knew it, everyone knew it. But in every single photograph, if you look carefully at Catherine's face in the background, you can see it. That tight, disapproving expression, that look that said she was counting down the days until this marriage fell apart and she could have her son back. The first year of marriage was everything I'd dreamed of and everything I'd feared. Daniel and I were happy. We bought a brownstone and I designed every room, pouring my heart into making it a home. My business was growing. I'd landed a contract with a boutique hotel chain, and the press was starting to notice my work. I should have been on top of the world, but Catherine's shadow was always there. Family dinners became endurance tests. She'd make my favorite dishes wrong on purpose, then act confused when I didn't eat much. "Oh, I thought all of your people loved fried chicken," she'd say with that innocent smile. She'd talk about Daniel's ex-girlfriends, mentioning how suitable they were, how his father had really liked the one who went to boarding school in Switzerland. She never said my name if she could help it. I was always Daniel's wife, or dear, or just ignored entirely until she needed someone to criticize. Daniel's siblings followed their mother's lead. His brother's wife would give me these pitying looks, like I was some charity case. His sister stopped inviting me to her book club after I showed up twice. They'd have whole conversations about family history and inside jokes, and I'd sit there feeling like a stranger at my own husband's family table. Daniel would squeeze my hand under the table, but he didn't see half of what his mother did. She was too smart for that. Her cruelty was surgical, precise, and always deniable. "You're being too sensitive," Daniel would say after another awful dinner. "She's like that with everyone. She's just old-fashioned." Old-fashioned. That was the excuse for everything. Old-fashioned was code for racist, but nobody wanted to say that word out loud. My business kept growing despite everything. Or maybe because of everything. I poured my hurt and frustration into my work, and it showed. I opened my own firm with 3 employees. We were featured in design magazines. I won an award for innovative use of sustainable materials. Every success felt like armor against Catherine's disapproval, but she found ways to diminish even that. "How nice that you have your little hobby," she said, when I showed her a magazine spread featuring one of my projects. "Though I do wonder if clients hire you for your talent or because of whose wife you are." That one landed. I went home and cried that night, even though I knew it wasn't true. My clients hired me because I was good at what I did, but doubt is poison, and Catherine knew exactly where to inject it. Then I got pregnant. Daniel was over the moon. I was terrified and thrilled in equal measure. We told his family at Sunday dinner, and I watched Catherine's face carefully. For just a moment, I saw something that might have been joy. Then the mask came back down, and she gave us her congratulations in that same cold voice she used for everything else. The advice started immediately. I needed a nanny from this specific agency. I should stop working immediately to avoid stress. The baby would need to attend certain preschools, summer camps, preparatory schools. She had opinions about names, about nursery colors, about whether I should breastfeed. She talked about proper upbringing, like my own upbringing had been improper, like my parents hadn't raised me with love and values and strength. "You'll want to be careful about certain cultural influences," she told me when I was 4 months along. "Children need structure and refinement." I was 6 months pregnant when the gala invitation arrived. The annual philanthropic gala was Catherine's signature event, the one night a year when she gathered all of high society to raise money for various charities. It was a command performance for the whole family. Daniel insisted we go, despite my reservations. He thought it might be a turning point, a chance for his mother to publicly acknowledge me as part of the family. I spent weeks choosing the perfect dress. Something elegant, something that would make me feel powerful and beautiful despite my growing belly. I found it in deep burgundy, custom-made to fit my pregnant body like it was designed specifically for me. The night of the gala, I looked in the mirror and saw a queen. Daniel couldn't stop staring. I felt ready. The venue was extraordinary. Crystal chandeliers, white marble floors, an orchestra playing classical music. Everywhere I looked, there were people dripping in diamonds and designer labels, holding champagne glasses and talking in that particular way wealthy people talk at charity events. Catherine was in her element, holding court near the stage, accepting compliments and air kisses like a politician at a fundraiser. For the first hour, everything was fine. I mingled, I networked, I even enjoyed myself. Several people recognized me from my magazine features and wanted to talk about design. I felt like maybe I did belong here after all, not because of Daniel, but because I'd earned my place in these circles through my own work. Then Daniel got called away, an emergency with a property development deal that couldn't wait. He apologized, kissed my forehead, and promised he'd be back within the hour. I told him I'd be fine. I was fine. Until I wasn't. Catherine took the stage to give her annual speech. She thanked donors and volunteers, talking about the importance of family values and community support. Her voice was warm and engaging, and I found myself admiring how comfortable she was in front of hundreds of people. Then her tone shifted. "You know, family is everything to me," she said, and her eyes scanned the crowd until they landed on me. Family legacy, family reputation, family values. These things matter. They're what separate us from those who simply marry into success rather than building it themselves. The room got quieter. People were listening now, really listening. "Some people marry for love," Catherine continued, still looking directly at me. "And others marry for opportunity. It's not always easy to tell the difference, is it?" A few of her friends laughed. I felt my face get hot. This was happening. She was actually doing this in front of everyone. "Take my son's business, for example," she went on. "He's worked so hard to build his reputation. It would be such a shame if someone were to benefit from his name without actually contributing anything of value. I've seen it happen. Young women who suddenly have thriving little businesses after they marry well. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?" More laughter. Whispers spreading through the crowd like wildfire. I could feel people staring at me, putting the pieces together. She was talking about me. She was publicly suggesting that my success was because of Daniel, that I was some kind of gold digger who'd trapped her son. "And now there's a baby coming," Catherine said, her voice taking on this sickeningly sweet tone. "A grandchild. Of course, I have concerns about the upbringing, the values that will be instilled. Not everyone is suitable for raising the next generation of our family, after all." That was it. That was the line she shouldn't have crossed. My baby. She was publicly questioning my fitness to be a mother to my own child, and she was doing it because of the color of my skin. Not because of anything I'd done wrong, but because of who I was. I stood up. My chair scraped against the marble floor loud enough that people turned to look. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears, but my hands were steady. I walked through that crowd toward the stage, and I didn't look down. I didn't apologize for taking up space. I didn't shrink. Catherine's eyes widened when she saw me coming. For the first time since I'd met her, I saw something like fear cross her face. I climbed the steps to the stage and held out my hand for the microphone. She had no choice but to give it to me, not with everyone watching. The room was dead silent now. You could have heard a pin drop on that marble floor. "Thank you, Catherine," I said, my voice clear and steady. "What an interesting speech." I turned to face the crowd, hundreds of faces staring at me, waiting to see what I would do. I took a breath and found my courage. "My name is Nicole Thompson," I said. "Some of you know me as Daniel's wife. Others know me from my interior design firm. For the past 2 years, I've listened to my mother-in-law make comments about my hair, my family, my career, and my worth. I've smiled through dinners where she's questioned everything about me except the one thing that really bothers her. I looked directly at Catherine. Her face had gone pale. "You've underestimated me from the moment we met because of the color of my skin," I said. "You looked at me and decided I wasn't good enough for your son, that I must be after his money, that my business only succeeds because of his name. You've spent 2 years trying to make me feel small, trying to break me down, waiting for me to fail or leave so you could have your son back." My voice didn't shake. It didn't waver. I'd spent 2 years finding this strength. "But here's what you don't know," I continued. "I built my business before I ever knew Daniel's last name. I earned every single client through my own talent and hard work. When Daniel and I met, he was volunteering at a community project, not throwing money around at some society event. We fell in love because we share values that apparently you can't understand. Values like respect, equality, and judging people by their character instead of their skin color." Someone in the crowd gasped. Good. Let them be shocked. Let them finally see what I'd been dealing with. "You want to talk about family values?" I asked. "Let's talk about them. Family means supporting each other. It means accepting the people your children love. It means celebrating success instead of trying to tear it down. It means looking at your grandchild and seeing a blessing, not a concern." I placed my hand on my belly, feeling my daughter move inside me. "I am suitable to be a mother. I am suitable to be Daniel's wife. I am suitable to be in this family, whether you ever accept that or not. And I'm done shrinking myself to make you comfortable. I'm done being quiet while you disrespect me. I'm done pretending that your cruelty is just old-fashioned manners." The room was absolutely silent. Catherine stood frozen beside me, her carefully constructed composure completely shattered. "You've underestimated me for the last time," I said quietly. "I hope someday you realize what you've lost by choosing prejudice over love. But whether you do or not, I'll be fine. Because unlike you, I don't need everyone to look like me to see their value." I handed her back the microphone and walked off that stage with my head high. My legs were shaking, my hands were trembling, but I didn't let anyone see it. I walked through that silent crowd, and about halfway to the door, someone started clapping. Then another person. Then more. By the time I reached the exit, half the room was applauding. I made it outside before I started crying. Not sad tears. Angry tears. Relieved tears. Free tears. Daniel found me 20 minutes later. He'd gotten calls from 5 different people telling him what happened. He was furious at his mother and heartbroken that it had come to this, but he held me while I cried and told me he was proud of me. We went home together, and I've never felt more certain about anything than I felt about us that night. Catherine sent a forced apology 3 days later. Daniel had given her an ultimatum: earn back our trust, or lose access to her son and grandchild. It was short, stiff, and didn't really acknowledge what she'd done wrong, but it was a start. We set boundaries, supervised visits only, no more undermining comments, no more questioning my worth. She could either respect me or she could leave. Daniel's siblings started reaching out, apologizing for their silence, admitting they'd been too afraid of their mother to speak up. Some of those relationships healed, others didn't. That's okay. My business exploded after the gala. Turns out standing up to a racist billionaire in front of high society gets you attention. I started getting speaking requests from women's organizations about overcoming discrimination. My client list tripled. I had to hire more staff. When my daughter was born 3 months later, Catherine came to the hospital. She held her granddaughter and cried real tears, and for the first time I saw an actual crack in her armor. We're never going to be best friends. Some wounds don't heal completely, but we found a way to exist in the same space, and she's learning that my daughter will be raised with all of her heritage, including the beautiful brown skin she inherited from me. The lesson in all of this? Never shrink yourself for someone else's comfort. Your voice matters, even when it shakes, especially when it shakes. Find a partner who stands beside you, not in front of you or behind you, and teach the next generation that they are enough exactly as they are. I'm Nicole Thompson. I'm a wife, a mother, a successful business owner, and a Black woman who refused to be broken. And that's more than enough.